Alright, this next video has to do with a story in a book that I've just published that was just released on Amazon last night or this morning, recently. And it's the author's memoir about his friendship with John F. Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy. And it's called The Human Touch. My Friendship and Work with President John F. Kennedy. And it's by John G.W. Mahana, who's now passed away, but this book is a manuscript that he wrote in the 1980s that I got my hands on and was able to publish with the blessing of his son, John. And I wanted to share a story at the beginning of the book, a few pages into it, not the very, very beginning, but it has to do with Kennedy and his kind of servant's heart, you might say. It's a story that I don't think appears anywhere else other than this book, The Human Touch. And it just goes to show that, to me at least, it's a stranger is just a friend you haven't met before. So it's about 2.5 pages, so I'll just read through this, and if you get bored then you can click away, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. So the setting is the author, it's a memoir, and so the author is telling this story that goes back to April of 1945, and he was in San Francisco and trying to get a hotel room, but there was a big conference going on at the time. He couldn't get a room. So I'm skipping the first few pages, but it starts off with him feeling a bit down about not having a place to spend the night that night. So it starts, dejected, my thoughts turned to getting a taxi to take me to my former ship, the Haywood, in dry dock, where I was sure to have a place to sleep for that night. An empty couch in the lobby looked inviting, so I decided to sit for a while and ponder my thoughts. After sitting there for a few minutes, a handsome, tall, thin fellow approached me. He was dressed in a tweed jacket, khaki trousers, wore brown loafers, and carried a cane. "You look pretty depressed, pal," he said with a smile as he sat down beside me. "Anything I can do for you?" he asked. Then he introduced himself. "I'm Jack Kennedy. What is your name?" When I answered, informing him of my Massachusetts background, he sparkled, wanting to be filled in on why I was in uniform, sitting there alone in the lobby of the Palace Hotel. Again, I recited my day's activities, the return a few days ago from the South Pacific, the discharge from the Naval Hospital at Treasure Island, receiving new orders to ONI, being rebuffed at the Cliff House officers' quarters, and the desperate try I was making to find a room in a city where all hotels seemed to be occupied to capacity because of the San Francisco conference. In near disbelief,